Hi, I'm Natasha Pellick, and today you're watching the Red Bokeh Society, where we discuss different subjects from around the world, different things that are happening in our current events and our current climates. And I'm going to be introducing, we have Truth Now, and we have Iman Trek, who are both hosting the show with me. And the point of this is that we have very different perspectives and different views, and so how we can come together and discuss things so that we can arrive at a conclusion, so that we can produce things that are moving forward movement in our everyday lives. So, gentlemen, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
You too.
For our third show here today, and we have a lot of different exciting topics to discuss today.
Right.
We're going to be going through different things about Kanye West, mental health, how people are perceiving that, Bitcoin hoarding, some of the Chinese spies that are affecting our everyday lives. They were asked, they got the boot over at the Chinese consulate. Schools, whether or not we should open or close, or if there should be this blanketed sort of opening or closing or whatever, and how different districts should be handling things. Hate speech, how hate speech plays into cancel culture, and Bill Gates.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Yeah, good one. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to start off, we were excited like last week about Kanye West making an announcement for president. Now it seems like there's a little bit of a
Take it away, Trek.
Conversation.
Yeah, take it away right there.
I knew you were
Trek.
going to do that. I mean, here's the thing. I was already on the fence with Kanye, and you guys know I was pretty honest how I felt about Kanye. I still have a lot of respect for the man.
Yes.
But when you get up there in front of a group of people, whether you're black, white, again, pterodactyl, as I love to say, you can't get up there and start throwing ancestors under the bus. You can't get up there and say Harriet Tubman never freed the slaves when she dedicated her life to freeing slaves. And to the point where this country even considered putting her on a $20 bill. That wasn't received well. So for someone like Kanye to get up there, then he throws his dad under the bus, which, I mean, he's still your dad. And it's about the family and keeping the family together. So you putting the narrative out there, oh, my dad wasn't there, and my mom. I mean, come on, bro. Really? I mean, imagine Trump getting up there on the soapbox early in the campaign and breaking down into tears. I mean, how are you supposed to respect that? I mean, I get it. Okay, he showed a weaker side of himself. He showed that he can cry on camera. I get that. But isn't that what got Obama in trouble, when the world leaders never really respected his position? But now, love Trump or hate Trump, they respect Trump's position. So, no, Kanye's there to waste the vote. It's a publicity stunt. He threw his wife under the bus. He said that they were going to abort their daughter, North. I mean, what's that supposed to do to North's mentality when she sees that years in that's why Kim Kardashian's looking at her own husband funny style. She's thinking about divorcing him. Then he goes on Twitter to wild out on his wife because she had concerns about him divulging stuff that should have never been divulged. Now, I get it. When you run for office, everything's an open book. I get it. But there comes to a certain point where you shoot yourself in the foot, literally, and that's what Kanye did. So I get it. Now you say Kanye can't be canceled, but he's kind of canceling himself. And the same thing like Candace Owens canceled herself. And
he's been on the road.
How do you come back from that? Go ahead.
I just think he's been on the road to what you might want to call cancellation, or at least just like being
the road. Exactly. Great. That should be a song or an album, or a book. Right. Exactly what it was, bro.
Yeah. Because you can follow his career and it's taken some interesting places, but one thing you can't say is, like, Kanye West is not still relevant. Like, he's one of the most relevant artists.
He's definitely
what I mean? So what I think with that is that he's been embarrassing himself. The reason is he's been embarrassing himself is because he's not well, and it's really like it. That is the long and the short of it. And I feel like that's been a thing recently more and more that we've just had to talk about, which is like Trump's mental health, Biden's mental health, the clarity and mental health level of Bernie Sanders, or the physical health of Bernie Sanders, or the physical health of Hillary Clinton. So I think that's just really what we're talking about with Kanye. And we didn't maybe necessarily think, it was going to be such a big conversation, but he gets to basically be a much more blatant public image of what mental health crisis looks like coming out of the system that he was in. and
I agree.
Britney
You know, but honestly,
happened.
we could
Britney,
be,
all of them, they're
Everybody's
Disney
happened.
kids. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
back. Yeah, I agree.
there was sometimes you could say, oh, what is the mental health of, what a lot of these people are saying. Madonna, Chrissy Teigen is, like, I would take these in any directions. They've all said some wild ass shit. Kanye's crying in public, running for president with a bulletproof vest on. So he
Yeah,
he
what
looks
was
like
up
a
with the
nut job.
bulletproof vest? Thank you. Yeah, what was up with the vest?
Yeah. Well, the vest is dope. The vest is dope to me because it's like, he's like, yo, what I'm doing, like, they could kill me for it any moment. And I want to make a special note of that Kanye is very brave. Kanye is very
No,
brave
yeah,
to be completely,
definitely.
fully living his fucking wild ass truth right now, which is, it's like, is very dangerous. And like you were talking about, Harriet Tubman,
Yeah.
is not on trial. Kanye West should shut the fuck up, about who he tries to knock off while he puts Kanye West up higher one more. And it's like, dude, calm down. You have no idea. Like,
I mean, when Kanye said that, the thing about Harry Tubman reminded me of Trump real quick when he said, oh, yeah, we got a lot of great black leaders like Frederick Douglass. He's doing great things. Frederick Douglass is dead, Mr. Trump. So I know what Trump was trying to do. So when you say things like that and you don't know the basis
mental
of history,
health, stupidity,
you look
all
crazy.
these things. You look crazy talking about Frederick Douglass is alive. And that's the
ignorant.
thing.
Like,
that was just
right.
That was just ignorance. Like, Trump says wild ass shit. Anybody who's debating that is a fucking piece of shit, because like, it's not, he's blatantly saying things that, especially as the president, are not acceptable to say. And then on top of that, like,
I agree, man.
He was saying that before he was president too. And that's why nobody on the left was like, this could even happen, because it was like, you were supposed, cancel culture, to just jump right into it, was supposed to dictate that after you say grab him in the pussy, you're canceled and you don't become president. But nope.
And actually,
you can still become president after that.
73% of women still voted for Trump. And I think I asked about the first show, and I'm still scratching my head on that. That's like,
I'm going to be voting for him. I mean,
all right, so here you go.
I mean, no, I appreciate
Natasha.
why you're voting for him, but at the time, he was being literally thrown under the bus. Every time we watched the news, right, they would say what Trump did next. The grab him by the pee, the Central Park 5, the how he got sued for the rental discrimination. A lot of things were thrown at Trump, and everyone was waiting for, when is Trump going to fall off the map moment, and that moment never came. I remember when Rachel Maddow was on MSNBC eating crow,
and she's saying it never will.
This is your America.
Please, Natasha, take it away.
Right now, we can be honest.
Trump in a mask.
There is not much news going on that fits a basic narrative, unless it is something that is easily understood.
Okay.
Understanding the complexities of what's going on in our society is difficult for people to understand. And right now, we like gummy bears and M&Ms and Disneyland. It's really easy to feed into that that side to get that hook, because everything is cinema. I mean, really, to be honest.
Especially now, I agree. Yeah.
And honestly, as far as like the different counterintelligence psyops campaigns, like to see where people are going to be going and looking. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Chinese are so pissed off right now, because they had their hooks in the NBA. They had their hooks in a lot of different sporting arenas, and their asses just got the boot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, well, who really has influence over our minds, and what is the actual truth?
Let me ask you a question.
In this show is to really like try to decipher, where are we getting our information? What's verifiable? I mean, I don't know if you guys know who Aaron Schwartz is. I might have mentioned him in the show in the past, but he was faced with a 35-year sentence because he was plugged into one of MIT's servers to pull out all the JSTOR documents, and he ended up taking himself out, supposedly.
Right.
And so we're talking about one of the most brilliant prodigies on the planet that's trying to Wikipedia information. What else is being held from us as far as like this? It's almost like an iron curtain of intelligence. It's out there, but all we're getting is like the very little tiny bit of surface on the news. And it's
just
like
enough to keep everyone at odds and fighting and arguing and thinking they know the answer, but no one really knows anything. So good point.
But what we do know is that we have resources. We have stuff that is after. We have a lot of fresh, clean water, And I just found out now from the State Department that we have a quad. I guess after NATO broke up, now we have a quad with Japan, Australia, India and the U.S. is the
new NATO.
Yeah, which was kind of unexpected, but there's been a lot of shifting. But the Democratic
England will join that. Everybody will join that. All of Europe.
Australia was the first one to call out the WHO on the pandemic. I don't know if they had their spies in there, or they just were able to read the writing on the wall. But the Aussies were like, "Yo, this thing spreads. We're gonna lock it down." They locked it down fast. They declared it a pandemic before anybody else did. And
they won pretty much, especially New Zealand.
Yeah, and they were able to take care of it. And then obviously over here, our president was heavily criticized for cutting off people coming in from China and then cutting off people from coming in from Europe. We have a big country here. We have a lot of cities. We have a lot of commerce that happens here. So our situation here is a little more complex, than others. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Bitcoin situation. What's going on there, Trek? You and I had touched upon it briefly.
I mean, basically what I read up on, I know Truth could probably help me on this too. Basically, it seems like there's a power play going on for the information and data involving COVID and the people that are going through it and the people that are going to needing medication, vaccinations, and the like. So China is at the helm.
Which gets us right to Bill Gates.
Exactly, because a lot of these CEOs are in China. I agree. Warren Buffett's exactly. It's kind of ironic. A lot of these CEOs that resigned maybe 3-4 months ago. Truth, you could probably help me out with that. 150 of them just resigned out of nowhere, and a lot of them resurfaced in China. And like I said, everybody wants to make China out to be this red communist state, socialist state. And I watched the documentary called New Money. You guys feel free to watch it in your leisure. And they talk about China, how they use cryptocurrency, how the host of the show couldn't even buy ice cream because he had physical cash. So basically, they have a cashless society, way more advanced than the U.S. And I think U.S. is playing, okay, now we got to demonize China because they know China's a little bit more advanced. And it's a throwback to the New Deal at time when I think it was Roosevelt was doing the New Deal.
Hey, whoa, back up about positioning China as being more advanced. I mean, they're harvesting organs.
Yeah. No, they probably are doing that, hun, and I get all that, but so is America. And let's not act like a lot of the missing children in America. And when Rodney King was beat and they had all those riots in California, a lot of people don't know this. Truth might.
Americans get
10,000 people
get a lot of
went
organs
missing
from around the world too. From
10 to 15,000 people went missing the night of the Rodney King thing, and people like Dick Gregory, who was very instrumental in civil rights. He's an ancestor now. He was saying organ harvesting back then. So how do you have 10,000 people just come up ironically missing? And I know when certain people are killed, especially black individuals, they use their melanin to use things like melatonin. Ask the people in Europe, they know what melatonin is because they use that heavy. So it's like
melatonin.
What are you talking about? I use melatonin every night. What are you talking about?
No, but it's really used heavy in Europe. It's really, really heavy in Europe. No, I know it's in America. I get it.
It comes
but
from
there's
melanin.
a market for it in Europe, really heavy. And so where are you getting these bodies from?
I gotta look into this.
Yeah, look into it. Yeah, melatonin. If you go to Europe, they're using. And so where are they getting the melatonin from? From the aborted fetuses, from people that are probably killed their damn self.
That's what I'm eating. We got the.
I don't want to ruin your appetite, but yeah,
that's a little more conspiracy theorist for you than you normally are. But speaking of missing people, whoa, guys! Speaking of missing people,
farming, that's pretty accepted now.
Yeah, it is accepted.
That's what's going on.
Back it up.
No,
speaking
go
of
ahead,
missing people, and,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And this week, Maxine, whatever.
Pedo world.
Oh yeah, Maxine, right.
Who's gonna be on the list? Prediction.
My question is, who's not going to be on the list? I think that would be a shorter conversation at this point.
Would you say? You mean Maxwell? Did you say Maxine?
Maxwell. Maxine. What the hell is her name?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah. Who's on the list? Dude, the list is everybody that you think it is. It's the dad from Seventh Heaven.
You know what I'm saying?
Bill Gates. It's fucking Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
It's the Oprah, Naomi Campbell.
Who's not on the list?
Who's not on the list is kind of more. There was even a question as to whether or not Bernie was on the list. And I was
Hell,
like, if
I might
Bernie's,
be on
I was
that
like,
damn
if
list.
Bernie's been to that island, dude, that's not a good look for Bernie. That's not a good
I might
look
be
for
on that list
party.
for truth for all I know. I don't know. Everybody's on that damn
No,
list.
you're not on that list, bro.
No, I'm just saying.
Bro, if you were coming out of that island, I would be like, we have to hide you. You can't be on the internet. Like, no.
Here's my question. Here's my question.
There's so many shooters off all that list shit.
Here's my question to you guys. How was Epstein's Island not the real Fantasy Island? You guys are old school, so you remember Fantasy Island, that show.
It kind of is. I mean,
and who's tattoo?
I'm not really old enough to fucking remember.
But you can look it up. I know Nat knows what I'm talking about. At least hopefully.
No, I've heard of this shit.
Yeah,
and that's what they called it. Like they called it Orgy Island.
Yeah, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Is it true? Because I was reading that Joe Biden owns an island like right across the way.
Dude, I would not be surprised at all.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Joe Biden is so inside. He's been a senator taking big bribes because our government is so corrupt. Like that's one thing. Very corrupt. That was one thing is that like Trump when he was going to war with whatever Clinton, like that's the same thing as Biden. That's the same thing as Obama. He threw it all in together because of course it's a party. And they all still basically ride for each other. Like,
right.
You know, there's serious questions about Obama, what Obama's been into and for how long. And
I mean, there's been footage.
The same thing is true for Trump. Like, you know, there's some really serious paperwork on Trump. You know, people filing claims of heinous rapes of children. Like, you know,
it's just gonna get pardoned anyway. Look at Roger Stone. Those guys are
but Roger Stone wasn't raping children, so it is interesting. But I would not expect. Right. I would not expect Trump to do anything less. I would look at Trump as he's running like a very Nixon White House, like a very like thug racist White House. It's just been it's a look. People weren't expecting it because of what year it was, but they should have expected it because of fucking who Obama was in the White House. So and Trump was a rising star against Obama. Like that was what birther was. Like this should have been
no. Trump undermined Obama with the birtherism movement. That's what he did, and he got a lot of his rich buddies involved. And he still, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think that the birth certificate was real? Because a lot of people tried to debunk it, said it was fake. But that was Trump's claim. And the only reason I don't really know. I don't know where Obama was born. I also don't really care. I think like you don't care where an American president was born?
Not really, because Obama was gonna be and was worse than like a ton of Americans for sure. But he could have been so much worse. Like Obama could have been so
not much worse.
But do we really know? Do we really even know what he did?
But I know he tried. I know the man tried.
I mean, I agree. Like, I don't see a legitimate change of policy on much from Bush to Obama or from Obama to Trump. Like. The only major differences to me from Middle East politics or Middle East imperialism around Trump is that he just wanted to pick a fight with Iran, which to me is stupid because Iran is with China and Russia. And like, we don't really need to pick that fight. We need to come home. We need to rebuild America. We need to do what China's been doing for 50 fucking years on the back of us kicking Japan's ass. Like, we're just not being smart. And that's what fucking Carter told Trump. Like, Trump called Jimmy Carter and was like, I'm worried about China. And Jimmy Carter was like, me too, motherfucker. Like,
Trump's, you know what's like, crazy? When I interviewed James Trafficant,
not fighting. What's that?
What point, Truth? You made me think of something. When I interviewed James Trafficant, the late congressman from Ohio, the guy that helped Deming get free back in the day. He went to jail for like 7 years because he wouldn't bitch out to the president. And I remember interviewing him. He told me, man, watch out for China. And then 2-3 years later, he died in a tractor accident. So how does a farmer from Ohio die in a tractor accident? I called BS then. And I call it BS now.
That's the official story for some guy.
Yeah, you can look it up for yourself. I'm thinking, damn, they killed Mr. Trafficant. And me sitting there with the man, I had like 2 sit-down interviews with him. I learned a lot about Syria and how Syria was involved, and then Russia has they got a lot of feelings for Syria. So if you mess with Syria, at the end of the day, Russia might step in. I learned that day. I didn't know nothing about foreign policy and none of the stuff he was talking about. But that's what it is: talking dialogue with people you wouldn't normally sit down with. And
it's all about talking to the world. That's one thing that was always bullshit, is that Fox was like, how dare Obama talk to our enemies? And then they were like, Trump is talking to our enemies. He's a fucking genius. And so it's things like that where the two sides are just not ever telling the truth. So I'm always out here being like, yo, of course, like help out a local politician, try to grab some fucking power in this power orgy. I'm with it. But at the same time too, it's like, we have to remember, like, they are all looking out for number one. And a lot of them have sold out or gotten compromised a long time ago, which is why people with fucking big money were willing to give it to them. Is like, we already own you, you know? So if you're not owned yet, fucking awesome. Go get some power in the government spending, you know, and in the taxation. Like, go rob us and fucking go, let's go rob fucking Bezos. Why aren't we robbing Bezos? If Trump was gonna wake up and actually fight the New World Order, he would fucking go arrest Bill Gates. It would be on fucking Fox News, and the other channels would be like, oh my God, Nazi Donald Trump is getting Bill Gates. Like, until we and that's why I want to bring him in on this, is that he's related to everything we were just talking about. China, yes, completely sold out to China, and the technocracy thinks they're doing it amazing and is doing Chinese shit in India and wants to do it here. That's what all this is about. The pandemic's all about doing China to America by Bill Gates, you know, by the WHO, but not even necessarily by the WHO, because that's Bill Gates anyway. So Bill Gates will do it with a different brand name if we're not doing it with the fucking WHO. And that's why
good point.
That's why it's fucked up that Trump has this warp speed thing with people that are completely owned by Bill Gates, companies that he's got lion's share. It's just Bill Gates with a different name. He's so fucking rich. And it's the monopoly case that they stopped prosecuting when he was Microsoft. We need to bring back trust busting. And Bill Gates is like beyond a trust. He's so well strategized across a future that he regulates with both technology and medicine. It is a fucking super hack. And people are, especially on the left, but I will say on the right too, but especially people on the left, are not waking up to it. And they're thinking like, Bill Gates, we need to defend this super great Jew. We need to save this guy right now because anybody trying to talk about Bill Gates as a Nazi, it's like, not, fam.
They kicked him out of Africa.
It's the 90s again.
Yeah, they did kick him out of Africa. They
kicked him out of Africa. They said, get out of here. We're not going to be guinea pigs.
Exactly.
That is a story that not enough people know, and it's also something that I want to be careful when quoting, because kicked out of Africa or kicked out of India are strong words that people can then go debunk. Bill Gates is very, very, very much not welcome in certain African countries.
Right, he's not welcome. Right, you got to word it right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
he is like not going to be coming round Madagascar and getting fucking arrested and shit. No,
the Sentinel Islands,
bro. And that's why they're like, you know, that's why they're trying to do what they've been doing and still do it in the countries that will allow them to. But that's why when Bill Gates says it, he always says, and vaccinate everyone in the world. It's about getting it inside everyone for whatever reason that is. And so to bring up the crypto thing, Bill Gates patented technology for crypto that you make money while you move. It's in your body. Like, this is not a conspiracy. That's something that he owns the future of, with a certain patent on like kinetic movement of a chip in your system. Like,
that sounds a lot like a mark of a beast, man. That's like the mark of a beast they talk about.
Exactly.
And you can't buy or sell without getting this so-called mark. It means everything's prophetic. Everyone says that the Bible's fake and it's whatever, but it comes true. It comes to light a lot of times, bro. And so I'm not the most religious person in the world, but when something makes sense and it's always coming back to give me the proper jewels you need, there's got to be some validity to it. So,
well, you know, it was 666 is in that patent.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
666, and I have some people that.
No, check this out, Natasha, really quick. What you just said, the 4 6s is the contact tracing bill.
Yes.
They're putting the sign of the beast in every step along the way.
Oh, that's right. HR 6666. Yeah.
HR 66 and Bill Gates crypto for your body patent are different things with that both contain at least 3 sixes. In the Bill Gates patent, they separate it by zeros, so it's 06, 06, 06. And in HR 6666,
Listen, 6666, it breaks
four of
down
them, I
to,
is
think.
contact tracing
it
and
breaks down to
quarantining.
33rd degree Mason, you know?
There you go.
Medical tyranny. Exactly, Natasha. That's exactly right. The
So, I mean, it's
numerologist
all
religion.
It's in front of our faces if we really want to go and get sacred geometry, you know, and it's all there if we want to map it out. I mean, maybe one day when we sit down and have a little powwow together, I can get
Yeah.
the drum out. We can, you know, sit
djembe.
around
Yeah.
and, you know, just kind of chill and like just maybe just it'll just come to us.
Bring
know?
some sage too. Bring some sage.
I'll always be down to just get super primal and tribal, of course.
Yeah.
You know that about me, you know.
I mean, that's where you find the truth. I mean, we all have that inner wisdom within us. You know, we can tap into that intelligence. I mean, it's one of the things that I've always fought in Allentown, Pennsylvania, about getting that fluoride out of the water because it calcifies people's pineal glands. You know,
after they sold away our water system, you remember that?
Exactly, which is why. Hold on really quick. I don't know what happened at the end of it, but I just want to say again, like I was talking one of the last times about how Derek Bros does amazing journalism. So he live streamed the California fluoride trial. I think it was federal or something, but it was in a San Francisco federal court. I don't know the exact, but it was against FDA, I think, to say fluoride is poison. I got to get, again, what did they find at the end of that? Because that was a landmark thing that just happened where they really sent fluoride all the way to like one of the higher courts in the land.
A neurotoxin.
After all that destruction that it did.
Chemical.
I will admit though, in Allentown, they kept it in our water because not everybody had the ability to afford dental work.
Okay.
And I've always had spots on my, like white spot. I've never had a cavity. Like I got drilled like one time, like, you know? So, I mean.
I definitely never had cavities as a kid.
But wasn't fluoride listed as a poison though?
I had one and it was so random. I was like, really? Me? Like, it was crazy.
I remember watching documentaries about fluoride. It's like it was listed as like a poison, with like they would have like the Skull and Bones logo on it, and somehow they thought it was a good idea to put it in toothpaste and other things. It's like, so
it might be a byproduct because I know that I had been back and forth with the Water Commission over time. And they're like, we don't even understand. Like, Allentown's paying over $1 million. It's like $1.2 million a year to continue buying this fluoride to put in the water. You know, right now,
after they sold the system that they owned because they tried to do a money scheme to offset the budget, the police budget or whatever.
The police pension.
Yeah, you get the pension. Thank you. Yeah, the pension.
But that, you know, that's actually where, you know, if we want to talk about BLM again and defunding the police, it's honestly, there's a lot of room for diversifying pension accounts because they seem to have been mismanaged.
They got
all kinds of.
A lot of state-run organizations, they haven't even kept up with their technology, which is why we were given the blanketed $600 a week amount.
Yeah.
People that were going unemployed, because none of the computer systems could hold up with anything else. You know, it's like, so wait, what have we been actually paying for? You know, if I make X amount, or if I do this amount, or if I volunteer this amount of time, you know, and it's offset to be whatever, how much is actually going to the school children, you know?
Yeah, not that much. A lot of it goes
breakdown of how much.
A lot of it goes to cops and garbage.
Costs a taxpayer of $35,000 a year approximately, which is weirdly enough the same amount of money that an institution gets for a COVID-19 patient, around the same amount of money. You know what I mean?
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that strange how those little blocks fit so easily together? You can just take.
I love shit like that.
You can take this data map and this data map and be like, and that's a handwritten thing.
That's you being smart, Natasha. That's you. that's you doing the work. For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. So if you think about it like this is one of the ways I always think about it is like, we can't trust the government to do our health. And I think also, we need to put the camera way on Natasha more and remember that way more. We'll do an extra 20 minutes for all the time it wasn't on you. I meant to say something about it. I was like trying to signal you.
Well, I mean,
we need a B-roll camera for her.
Producing everybody. Yo.
Yeah.
We really, I mean, as far as diversifying our health, I mean, I think that's one of the things on the Republican side that they are trying to make a point about. Like, if we have a blanketed healthcare system the same way that Canada does, it's going to take you 3 years to get a knee replacement.
Oh, okay.
Well, you always have here's the thing. There are wait lines when you want to all just get something completely changed and it's free, and then everybody can go to the surgeries they actually need. And the reason for that, though, is that we have a whole huge backup of people who never got surgeries they couldn't afford. So there is going to be a time where hold on one second. What I'm asking you is, why would you think that we couldn't at least figure out something that Britain figured out in like the 40s? You know,
they're like this big.
It doesn't actually matter, because all the money's not real anyway, and we could literally divert so much military spending to get surgeons created and time, and where this is about to go with AI, like it is a human right to be a human being in our society. Our society should be evolved enough that Cuba doesn't need to give you your 9/11 drugs and shit like that. Like, we need to evolve to at least the level that these socialist democracies have gotten to, which is why.
Back up.
Hold on. No, I'm not backing up off that. Look at England. You want to celebrate Brexit? Great. But they've had health insurance for everyone for like 70 years.
Still like, really bad teeth. Why is that?
You went to Austin Powers?
Because they're not getting fluoridated as much. I don't know. They probably are getting fluoridated quite a bit. Actually, the answer to that is that they're inbred. And then that's why immigration is so important on an island, is that after so many long years, especially in the elite. You look at the elite is super crossbred with themselves.
Oh yeah, the royals. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, royals for a long time were actually like, they became physically weak because of the way they were inbred back and forth across these families. So that's why someone like young dude, I forget his name, Charles or Edward, Harry, I don't remember who it is. But
he's not really
married
related. He's not
the black girl because they need fucking genetic diversity.
Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle, right?
Good
exactly.
point, man. Good point.
Yeah, no, they needed genetic diversity inside their bloodline. He's trying to have some healthy ass kids. He's not trying to marry the Queen of Spain right now. That's all back.
He's not back engineered. He is.
Well, whatever. My point is that these things happen, and they'll happen on an island, and they'll happen anywhere else. But at least if somebody fucking does get their, knee shot off or whatever, or stabbed up in England, they don't pay the bill. Like that's what the fucking bank is for. Like, we can figure this out.
Who's moving to England? Anyone?
I'll move to England.
Yo, all those people from Hong Kong. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, a lot of Africans are moving to England and doing really well out there.
People are fighting right now, and
they are. Yeah, true that.
And we're backing them up because
there are a lot of Jamaicans in England too. Traditionally,
yeah, of course. Colonialism. England allowed. Once colonialism unofficially or officially, I can't remember what they did, ended, which I don't think it did, they made it so at least Jamaicans could, like a certain amount of Jamaicans could come to they took care of the.
After they gave them the farce of giving them so-called independence, but the really only thing Jamaicans
after they slave traded them to an island and killed the airwax, like it's all colonial.
We're down the rabbit hole, guys. Let's stay on the subject.
That's not the rabbit hole. That's just history.
Yeah.
So let's remember what the rabbit hole is. That's just the history. So hold on one second.
There ain't no laws when you're wearing claws.
Yeah. Like the rapper in the movie, Scary Movie.
Okay. So Natasha, would you say you feel like America's incapable of figuring out how to like end homelessness and end people needing surgeries that they can't afford them? You really think we're that backwards and we're that fucking third world that we can't fucking figure this out?
I think that we're that big. Complex. I think there's an incredible amount of complexity within our system. We have a lot of nonprofit hospitals that do a lot of surgeries pro bono. And I know that we don't ever turn anyone away. If they come in for an emergency that does not happen, whether they're an American citizen or not, they are going to be taken in if they have an emergency.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
lot of things are not emergencies yet, and they're electives right now, and then they become emergencies, and then you die on the table, though. Like let's be real.
Western medicine versus Eastern medicine is still, I think, as far as preventative medicine and how people are treated, that's what I think.
Of course.
That's the area in which I think that we need to start excelling more.
No, that's
But
cool.
we could
That's
use.
cool,
But we
Nat.
could use. Go
But
ahead, Trek.
That's cool, Nat. But you got to realize it's okay to say what you just said and what you really is factually right. But why all these holistic doctors ending up dead, like Dr. Sebi and the like? It seems like there's a war against people that are off the cuff or off the grid from the pharmacia, if you will. And if you don't fit the narrative or don't fit the monetary stream, or they can't get part of your dividends or revenue, now you're a problem you end up missing. And if it's about people being healthy, why are these holistic dudes being dead as we speak? And Dr. Sebi's the last greatest one that fell victim of that crap.
Yeah.
So you go to any island, you go to Jamaica, you go to Haiti, you go to Dominican Republic, you'll find some health doctor that you'll find something. Truth, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Things like
medicine.
castor oil and all types of remedies that date back. That you know what I mean? That transcend
Leaf of
time
Life.
or whatever.
Dude, I ate Leaf of Life. You know, I ate Leaf of Life when I thought I had COVID in Jamaica. It's so crazy we were both just in Jamaica. Yeah.
Aloe water, the silver water. You know what I'm talking about. So there are a lot of things that cure people, Natasha, that if you're not part of the whole pharmacia Gestapo, if you will, or mafia, if you will, you're kept out and you're silenced. And if it's really about healthy people, why are they doing that? That's all I'm saying.
Hold on 1 second. I want to ask Natasha something. Let's get you on the record, legalize all drugs. The CIA member who just left the agency, and she's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s, not F. Kennedy. Yes, Robert Kennedy Jr.'s daughter-in-law, just left 10 years, basically going on Netflix and saying legalize all drugs. What do you think?
Absolutely. Decriminalization, I think, is
end the war.
And I think
get the cartels to stop killing people.
Hey, let's take turns, because otherwise people won't be able to hear us.
Sorry.
I think that was a point that's been going back and forth between the Mexican president and our president. Because, right now I have people that I know that have been investing for years in Potcoin currency in Canada, and being able to, it's a trade. It's an actual, it's like gold, hemp, marijuana, different
CBD oil,
drugs. I mean, there's really no reason. There's no reason.
Gold mine.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to regulate it. We have too many deaths with fentanyl and too many overdoses and different issues that if it were just be simply regulated and legalized and decriminalized, and if people had a problem with addiction, they would be not thrown in jail. They would be given actual mental health treatment to help themselves, because that's what we need.
Not mandatory too. Not mandatory.
Like if somebody, we should have.
If you want it, it's there. It's free if you want it.
But this whole thing started. Actually, it's weird that you bring up the Kennedys, because they were the ones that were bootlegging all the whiskey.
Alcohol. Great point. And the Seagram's family, when they got caught from Prohibition, instead of being thrown in jail and all the money taken like Rick Ross or any black drug dealer, they were given the alcohol industry. Seagram's. They were right. So it's like.
I mean, how else?
We need to do it again. We need to give the hood and give all the local street level dealers a fucking kiosk, and they let them fucking do what they need to do, and people can say, we don't want the store right there, but they shouldn't be able to say you can't have the store. It's our right as Americans to do what we fucking want to do with our bodies.
And drugs are a part of that. It's still a plant.
Drugs have been a part of that.
Otherwise you're just fueling the black marketplace, and that fuels human.
I mean, the black market will always be there, Nat, but I hear what you're saying. It's always going to be.
It'll fuel the black marketplace. It'll fuel human trafficking.
Yeah.
And all the other disgusting, horrible things that go along with it, with those underground tunnels of commerce, weapons, firearms, bombs, all the bullshit. If it's regulated and it's out in the open, I think that it's much safer for everybody.
You guys said earlier, you made me think of something. What you guys said earlier about mental health, you guys, I was thinking, I didn't chime in because I didn't want to be rude and interrupt what you guys were saying, but it's kind of weird that everyone has mental health now. and it kind of reminds me of autism. Cause I remember maybe 10 years ago, autism wasn't the thing. Now it's like everybody has autism. So is it like
Spectrum,
a
bro.
concerted effort to make sure people fall victim to mental illness, buy drugs, buy
Listen, I've been
however
trying
they're
to get
doing
a
it?
diagnosis for the last 10 years. I can't get one.
Oh, I'll diagnose you right now.
Yeah, I diagnose you right now too. Yeah.
Do you want my diagnosis, Natasha, live?
Yeah.
No, call me later.
Yeah, call me later. Call me later.
Totally. Yeah,
I mean,
will.
honestly, no, it's like
Of
there.
course.
It sounds like, I mean, it seems like there's something in the vaccines.
Yeah, something.
And that's
Right.
kind
Yeah.
of like,
Something in the water.
because I
Check
know
this
that my
out.
body, as a kid growing up, my body rejected them. They had to pace them out, you know, and I think you see enough of evidence that it does affect a lot of different kids. But the thing is, we can't be sitting here being like, yeah, let's be anti-vaxxers. You know, they've come a long way with certain.
I mean, did they need vaccines back in the days and the biblical times and did they really need vaccines? Who said that we needed vaccines? Who was the person that said, okay, guys, if we don't have vaccines, our children are going to die. If we don't have
Well, no,
vaccines, we're
hold
going
on.
to be cripples.
We're not
Let me
rolling
jump
around
on
in
that.
cow
Let me jump
poop.
on that because
No, I
Natasha,
know that. We're not
And then
I'm
rolling
the
like
around
with you
bubonic
for a
plague,
second. Yeah.
bubonic plagues and stuff like that. I mean, it would still somehow, in some form or another, there was still something in nature that would regulate the population in some capacity, and it was spread somehow. You know, some catastrophe is always on the horizon.
Okay, but hold on. Are you saying that is then just natural population control and we should accept it,
Could
or
be.
what are you saying about that? Because
Well, what I'm
I think
saying, I think that this is a real subject, Matt.
Yeah.
Like, point of right here is
it is.
a life extension. We're doing head transplants now. You know what I mean? And it's like they're
If you're rich.
organ harvesting,
If you're rich.
life extension, and
If you're rich as fuck, you're getting your head transplanted and a new
yeah,
fucking
you're
brain.
gonna go into one of those frozen things.
You remember cryogenics? I was about to say, remember cryogenics like 20 years, how that was the thing, and that kind of fizzled out when
Who's
people
gonna be
saw
waking up
how out the
first?
lunch it actually was. Like, who's gonna do that? Freeze yourself for 50 years, and then, oh yeah, we're gonna bring you back to life after you have all my money. Yeah, okay, can I get my bridge back too?
I know one of them's gonna be waking up soon. It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Have you seen
Yeah,
Elysium?
right.
Have you seen Elysium?
No, what's Alicia? Silverstone? Which one? What's Alicia?
No. Elysium?
Oh, Lisa Young. Oh yeah. The movie.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that.
Natasha, have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you both need to
Homework
watch that movie.
assignment. Homework assignment, Trek.
That's
Yeah,
literally what
definitely.
we're
I'm gonna watch
talking
that.
about. It's the rich people. This is all I'll say. The rich people move up into their dope ass space station where
Okay.
they all have AI healthcare, and all the poor people get left behind on Earth. You need to
yeah.
watch that movie. It's a
You know, I
fucking
will say
dope
something.
movie.
I will say something about
A lot of
AI
truth in those
healthcare. You guys know what a hyperbolic chamber is, correct?
I do, sort of.
So you know, when you see
Pressureless.
those alien movies and you go into a chamber and then like all your stuff gets fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yep.
legit. We have that now. And then you have Da Vinci machines that like a surgeon can go in and like program it, and it does your little like surgeries and stuff. Hey man, I mean, that's on the horizon. So therefore, people's lives are going to be automatically extended. So I think
I'm gonna go X-Files on you guys real quick, and I'm even embarrassed to even say this, but I remember I used to play baseball, right? And I would always be hurt. I would always be ailing my shoulder, my knee, whatever. And I thought I was a victim of alien abductions. I would have sleep apnea. I didn't know it was sleep apnea back then, so I thought I was getting abducted. But a lot of times I would go to sleep and my shoulder would be messed up or my knee be hurting, and I would have one of these episodes and I would feel better. It's like, damn, are these aliens like making sure I'm good? But I didn't know. I was in high school, whatever. But that's one thing I wanted to share. But who knows? I could have been put in a hyperbolic chamber. Who knows? And
I
then
could
some
have been.
kill people, you know. Thank you for making me think about that. So I might need counseling now, but yeah, I had felt I needed to share that.
I mean, there's a little bit of Kanye in all of us.
I don't know about that. don't put me there, Nat.
What
You're right though.
What do we want to talk about right now, and then move the camera to that person, or move it to AI on the topic of AI? Because I'm just noticing I got filmed.
I think we will go to AI because I think I'm the only one that interviewed Sophia, the robot, and so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, why don't I've been in the same desert tent with Sophia. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the day that I did interview Sophia, I was able to actually meet with her first investor. And so they had a couple different programmers there with her, and then she was dressed up in a IoT reactive dress.
Mhm.
So the dress itself would react with light and with sound and different things in the space. And I was
Right.
able to ask her a question. Questions were left simple because I didn't want to take up too much time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure I got like a really good response from her because she had a lot of facial movements because 90% of our communication is done through the face.
Right. Nonverbal.
So
Right.
I wanted
Right.
to see how she would react. And I had asked her, I was like, do you remember a few, like last year at the time, it was a year prior, I was looking for you at CES because she had like walked by me and I was like trying to get the camera and everything ready.
Mhm.
And whether she noticed it or not, whether she was hooked up into their camera systems or not,
Right.
she was like, oh yeah, I do remember you, you know?
Wow.
And I'm like, did she look something up and see that I was
Yeah.
there or whatever? And
Check the
she was in the
file.
same place in the same time,
Yeah.
or are her puppeteers, making certain responses so that she would
That's
have.
true.
So then
Handlers.
I asked her, I was like, so what's your favorite color? And
Yeah.
she said transparent. And I was like mind blown. I was like, no one's ever given me such a good answer before in my life. And that is so great. And then so when I interviewed her
There we go.
initial investor, now this guy's from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hong Kong is like ahead of the game as far as like AI and intelligence.
Yeah.
And learning and all that. And he took the chance on her, and they've been working on creating these mini Sophias. So you can have
Wow.
like an Alexa or whatever, but it's like something that's also
Yeah.
like a facial response, and so it's almost like a mini little pet person,
Yeah, pet people. Yeah, it's coming, dude. Droids. They're
Then next
droids.
will be like slavery. They're gonna enslave them people too, and then you're gonna have the Terminator movie come to life, where the machines go against man.
Can I
And
make
Well,
my
think about it
gender
like
droid?
this.
no,
Think about it
let her
like
make a
this.
point. My
Droid?
bad. But
Well,
it was
think about
funny.
it like this.
I went to well, quick truth. I went to a Trump event at PBS like maybe 3 years ago when Trump first got elected, and I met my
Yeah.
first Trump supporter way before I met Nat. And I
Okay.
remember them talking about AI and saying how it's a problem for the future, how it's going to keep people out of work and things like that. So I don't know if you could speak on that, Nat, on that aspect of how AI can actually have bad elements to it as well, with all the cool
Currently,
stuff too.
right now, AI it could possibly be used in the tracer patents if the government decides to accept one. I know that there was a big back and forth with U.S. and the U.K. about not using Highway, which is a brand that has a lot of like back doors to Chinese spyware,
Right.
to trace
They're saying that about TikTok too. Yeah.
for facial recognition and everything like that. And I find it to be a real coincidence that there's this really big push right now with the mask wearing and our Chinese consulates being kicked out, because for all we know, they've been doing contact tracing on every single camera that's out there, whether it's in a TikTok app or whether it's in a parking lot at the hospital, of who's going in and out. As
Yeah.
their test on pushing for this particular type of software, and that is a total invasion of privacy, and it's against anything at all that could be. But in China, they have like a sliding scale of how good of a citizen you are, a character thing, and like you could
Social credit score.
social credits, and it's very, very strange, and it's not our value system at all, so it's something for us to really keep our eye on as far as Skynet and
I think it is our value system. That's
Space
hold on.
Force and AI and like not think, but autonomously, we use AI I think all the time, especially within space, where we send devices up there all the time, and there's a certain element of these droids and these sort of autonomous vehicles thinking for themselves. You press a button on a Tesla car and it comes to you. It's able to read your position through your GPS, and it has all this great stuff built into it. So yeah, it could be applied and it can make our lives a lot easier. It could be applied to farming and to cleaning up waterways, to making sure that we have a clean environment. But as far as like guiding those ethics, it's one of the driving forces as to why I got involved politically and also involved in technology throughout the years, because I think that there needs to be a real true conscious voice in that space of guiding AI, because it will mimic its mama and its papa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it that there's not enough being done at the government level to really regulate what is being allowed to exist. We're talking about the ability to create terrorism and warfare, and even also just absolutely like evening out the scales. That's one of the reasons why I was like, I wanted to jump on. If you also want to slide the camera, put it on AI, because I noticed it's on you.
It's on me right now?
Yeah, that isn't green.
No, it's on all three of us. But
oh, great! I love all three of us, because then you get people's expressions to what other people are saying.
And on track. Yeah, press your camera thing so that right now the focus is on your microphone, not you.
How's it
There
now?
you go.
I have it on all three of us. I don't know why you can't see.
Thank you for telling me. Yeah.
Anyway, it's all good. We can fix this or just leave it. But the AI system, you know, Elon Musk potentially, and this all ties back into something that I kind of hope happens anyway, so I want to like spread it so that maybe it's true, is that Elon Musk wants to do the satellites over the earth so that he can decide if they shut down the internet. No, they don't, and I still host my own internet. So whoever can shut down your internet in a way is like whoever can beat you up a little bit right now, because people's entire lives are obviously on the internet.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really, really good point. I think that is one of his initiatives, putting up satellites so that there's.
Yeah, the satellites, I think the satellites is like, final stand against the government, or final stand against China, or final
it's funny that you bring that up, because in college I did some research on Ecuador and some of the tribal groups that were out trying to prevent these oil companies from coming in and making a big mess, because they were spilling oil all over the
what they do.
rainforest, and they were like, they were just depending on these like little like phones, you know, as far as communication, and sitting there and figuring out how to blog and communicate, you know, and also, I mean, it's critical. It's critical for so many people.
It's free speech. Internet's free speech. It's the only place where there's real free speech, and it's kind of slipping away every second. But
no, it's not. That's why we're doing what we're doing right now. We have to keep on pushing forward, and we have to keep on making statements. Like, we are fighting in order to keep free speech open, and we are not going to participate with cancel culture. You know, we're going to hear each other out. We're going to figure out a way to come together as a democracy, and because democracy is a living concept. It's not something that just you describe and it sits there on a pretty little shelf, and it's on a pretty little document that's in a little vault somewhere where we're just like, oh, look at that. That's so cute. You know? No, it's something that's alive, and it's activated within the wisdom of all of us to participate in. Can't sit there and point the fingers and, well, this guy's been in office for 50 years, and well, this person paid for that, you know, and that lobby and that, whatever, you know. We have an opportunity with this generation to give them enough information and create enough of a stir that we can make a difference. We can make a change, even if it's a one little pin prick.
I agree. I think that we have an opportunity to do that. The internet is obviously a big part of what I was saying. I was basically, again, just, you know, echoing the sentiment that just like WikiLeaks and just like Edward Snowden and just like all these fights that we have for information, like we talked, you know, before about the Wiener laptop, and like, just there shouldn't be all these secrets that people have. These, you know, that was why it was so cool that Epstein flight list came out, because that was really like vindication for a lot of people who've been like, look, this is what we've been talking about for 10 years, 15 years.
I mean, that's the whole reason that Julian Assange started the thing that he did, and we don't even know where the hell he is now.
WikiLeaks. Yeah.
And Assange, so this is a good perspective. My dad thinks of Assange as a fucking traitor to the Russians. I think of Assange as a goddamn hero of the world. And, you know, there's no way around that, is that like everything that he was ever putting out, no one has been able to say you put out fake stuff. So what did he put out? He put out classified and stolen shit that, yes, helps a certain, you know, political party at a certain time, of course. But again, if the fucking emails with Clinton had been great and we'd all fallen in love with them, then maybe she'd be president.
You're right.
But it was at the time when they got the ambassador killed in Benghazi, and the emails were about fucking kids. Like, none of this stuff is that tough. Like, And none of it, again, is that far out of the realm of what we already know happens, because every other week right now, somebody's getting busted for child porn. Or
now look at the Hollywood fallout. Look at Ricky Gervais and the stuff he said. How he called out Tom Hanks and DiCaprio and all the other people looking all funny style in the face. I mean, Ricky got it. You know what I mean? And look at his podcast on YouTube. He's dropping stuff daily. So it's like he might not be around too much longer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But at least we have these people out there willing to say it and willing to put themselves out there, and that's what I champion. You know, so
the podcast space is free speech, absolutely,
and that's where we are.
I mean, it is until Nick Cannon did it, but you know, that's another conversation.
No, let's talk about that. Fucking Nick Cannon.
Hey, before we talk about that,
sorry about that.
Fix your focus.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of probably.
I don't know anything about this Nick Cannon thing.
You don't know about Nick Cannon?
Oh, can I?
I know how Truth.
I'm like, it's not clicking. I don't know what's going on.
I know how Truth feels about it. I know Truth feels that Nick, because I read about what Truth posted, and I agree with a lot of it. But if it's about Truth, man, you can't attack the truth bringer and then fire the man for doing something on his podcast and then acting like he did it on Wild 'N Out. It's not like he had Professor Griffin on Wild 'N Out.
Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon was an actor from the movie called Drumline back in the 90s or 90s. It was a movie about...
He married Mariah Carey.
And he married Mariah Carey, but
Nick Cannon's done a good amount of stuff at this point. And
he had a show called Wild 'N Out.
Wild 'N Out was great. Wild 'N Out was great. I loved it. Again, it made this...
It's a great outlet.
Cracking jokes and freestyling.
It's talent. It's hard to do. Yeah.
It was great. And it gave a lot of cool different people a platform, and they came
people rap didn't even know they can rap. Right.
But what Nick can't, and I want to quote somebody. I follow a guy and want to say I'm cool enough to be friends with this guy, Talam AC, something like that.
Okay.
And I'm friends with some people in the hip hop community in New York City that I came up with of color who are awesome and know a lot and are not falling for all the bullshit at all. And basically what one of them was saying about Nick Cannon is that he's just reading pseudoscience, and it's not good. It's like a lot of black power is, if you're saying white people are evil because they don't genetically have enough melanin, it's pseudoscience. It's the same thing as saying black people are not as smart. It doesn't come from anywhere really, except some shitty books. And black people have some people that wrote shitty books, and white people have a ton of people that wrote shitty books. And that's just what it is that Griff is dope. Nick Cannon is talented. He's just not that well read. And instead of being yo, Minister Farrakhan is the only one telling the truth, he's just saying they're not good. They're evil at their core.
It's a selective time for a lot of these guys to act like they're woke. I agree with a lot of that.
Yes,
that's what it is.
The thing. Nick Cannon danced for every white dollar, and now he's woke. Oh,
I mean, look at DL Hughley. He admitted he lost 70% of his income supposedly, and that's why a lot of these guys are so-called woke now. He told. I mean, how are you gonna respect the guy? He literally came out on Sway in the Morning, maybe 3 years ago. This interview just came out. He basically said that his daughter came to him and said, "Hey, Dad, your friend touched me," or whatever, right? He said, "I didn't believe her because at the time it would have been inconvenient for me to believe her, and I liked the guy, and that was my friend, and I didn't believe my own daughter, and now I have to live with that every day." Now, how the hell are you supposed to respect that? Sorry about that, Nat. How the hell are you supposed to respect that at the end of the day when the guy can't even believe his own daughter in the height of all this Me Too crap now? So you have all these celebrities that try to act like, okay, now I'm going to be Malcolm X because I can see a money stream or I can be relevant in this field if I talk certain talking points. But Nick Cannon's only thing he did wrong, he couldn't defend what the hell he was talking about. That's the only thing he did wrong. Because he even asked, well, what did I say that was so wrong, guys? And no one really even gave him an answer truth.
Oh, I
So,
mean, I
what's the
think
answer
that
to
was a
that?
pretty clear answer. Talking about melanin is where empathy comes from. He's pretending he's a
Okay.
doctor of
Okay.
physiology,
Okay. Break
and
it down
he's
because I agree.
not.
Okay. Go ahead. Break
And
it
the
down.
literature that says that is
Yes, sir.
as stupid, in my opinion, as all the phrenology and all the eugenics that Bill Gates and the Rockefellers and Planned Parenthood have been pushing for a long fucking time at them.
I'm
So
glad
it's
you brought up Planned Parenthood.
reactionary
Right.
pseudoscience.
Okay. It's like I'm glad you brought up Planned Parenthood because it's kind of ironic that the same Dems they want to make Planned Parenthood disavow Margaret Sanger and the early founders because of eugenicism, like you just spoke about, and how she influenced people like Hitler. But it seems okay. So why are the Democrats pushing to disavow Miss Sanger now? But these are the same Democrats and nonprofits that I physically work with personally that did events for Planned Parenthood. So when I ask these same people, well, what about the death of black
People
babies? They
still
look at
love
me like I'm
Planned
crazy.
Parenthood because first of all,
Yeah, explain that to me, man.
you can get stuff that you want and need at Planned Parenthood, and it's very, very, very affordable or free. So
Yeah,
I understand
there
why
are a
there's
lot of
love
no,
for
well
Planned
said. But let me
Parenthood.
stop you right there, brother. But there are a lot of I found this out from another person, nonprofit. She told me that's true because I brought that up as a talking point. But there are a lot of other companies that do the same thing as Planned Parenthood. Their only hook is the abortion thing. So if you have other companies that offer the same resources and same services, why not push them out there if they're not killing black babies or white babies or pterodactyl babies or whatever? So that's my point. So why is this
A
something that
lot
used
of
to be
people
called?
don't want their babies that they got pregnant on. You know, I'm just saying real
No,
talk.
no,
Like
no. I
I
no, I
think
get
that
your
is a
narrative, and I agree
fundamental
with your narrative,
freedom
truth.
to
But
not
like I
say you
said,
have to bring everything to term. You know, I'm not an abortion extremist. I don't
me
think
either.
that you
Right.
should be able to kill a baby that's 8 months old inside your fucking
I don't
body.
agree with that. I don't think that the Democrats are wrong for that.
But I'm
Go
just
ahead.
saying, I understand why people support Planned Parenthood. I also happen to read what these people actually thought and what they were doing the whole time.
I was talking to a guy. I called Planned Parenthood this week. I did one of my famous Trek calls when I call and ask like crazy questions. And I asked him about the whole Margaret Sanger thing. And he tried to say, well, Planned Parenthood, we're not like that now. And we're trying to do a whole lot of things to change it. And I had to stop him. I said, with all due respect, bro, that's like me telling you I'm going to rebrand Nazism and I'm going to rebrand the stuff that Hitler was talking about and say, oh, we have daycares now. Hey, we're
We're
doing this
good.
now.
Yeah,
We're
we
doing
love
community outreach.
daycare.
Yeah, but you're still the Nazis. And that's my point.
Fair,
You're still Planned
fair
Parenthood
enough.
used to be called the Negro Project. That used to be the name of it, bro. And so, like I said in the last broadcast, that's the only issue I have with abortion. Don't depopulate me and then have the government help you out doing it, and then want to rebrand it
I
in
don't think they should
2020.
get funded by the government.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that. I think that the
I think
government
Trump is
should
going against that.
fund.
Luckily,
I
yeah,
think the
Trump.
government should fund things like that. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that brand. Because again, I know people want that, and I don't think it's anyone else's business to say, oh yeah, like no, you know, you maybe like something happened and that's your baby, like that's it, like
No,
Like,
but
like
you
I,
know,
listen to
no
this. Listen to
redo
this.
just
Here,
because
go
we're
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go
religion,
ahead.
we're a country of religious people. Like I think that's where we need to again go back to separating church and state and just be like, yeah,
I don't think that's
abortions are just.
I don't think it's possible at this point. It sounds good in theory, but how are you really going to do that? Really? I mean,
I think it's sort of happening. I think
you
people are
do? Okay.
dragging each other to the center,
All right.
more or less.
I have a point to make.
Go ahead, make it, please.
Because I would like to actually look and see what the numbers are as far as government funding Planned Parenthood when they justify shutting down the state hospitals and then our country experienced one mass shooting after the next.
The mental hospitals.
Yeah, the state hospitals.
Exactly. And mental hospitals needs to get rebuilt, refitted, and filled with people who are fucking nuts.
But how can they be
Absolutely.
rebuilt when even in Allentown, where we're from, Truth, they're tearing down a beautiful building that was just in a Glass movie with Shyamalan. Bruce Willis, Samuel Jackson were in Allentown maybe 2 years ago filming a movie. And everyone with the same press making a big deal when they had these spottings of these people, which is great for Allentown. But how does it make sense to tear down that beautiful state hospital that they know they can't rebuild, but they'd rather tear it down than have people live in it for housing and use it and repurpose it? I mean, How do you do that? How do you have something appear in a real
Because
movie?
of zoning, Trek. I mean, they try to justify with.
Okay, go ahead. I never had a real answer to that, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
they
ahead.
try to justify it with. That's why J.P. Riley wanted to rip down the Americus and rebuild it, because during that time when some of these older buildings were built, to rewire and to repipe and to redo,
Okay.
It takes so much renovation that it's worth just knocking it down and starting fresh construction.
I hear what you're saying, honey. I think it's probably true. But when I look at that building, I grew up in Allentown, so I grew up seeing that beautiful building. I never was able to go into it because I was never in that position to be in that building.
Yeah.
But how do you have a building that big for that would fill a void of the so-called mental illness that we've been talking about in the community?
That was taxpayer money that was going towards something. And then when Dick Cheney got into office as vice president with George Bush Sr.,
right.
As far as I understand it, they moved funding away from state hospitals and then into the industrialized prison complex.
Yeah, because they're throwing these same people in jail now. And how do we look as a country? How do we sleep at night knowing that we're throwing people that have mental illness that should be helped? But
I don't think that
we
did not make those choices. But that election was stolen. That was the first time that I think that in our lifetimes we witnessed in Florida when it was John Kerry.
I think it was the first time it was actually evident where actually Ray Charles could see that something was wrong. But I hear what you're saying.
But it was majorly wrong at that point in time. That election was absolutely 100% stolen.
Oh yeah.
It was because there were some really, really bad intentions that ended up inevitably happening. You think it's a coincidence then that we never had mass shootings, school shootings in elementary schools and these things with incredible mental issues that's happening, and then the demonization of the nuclear family, separating these families, throwing the men in jail all the time for crimes that are
monetary crimes. People are literally, I mean, everyone's mad about the Portland police or the secret police, Trump's thugs or whatever, arresting people. But what about the economic shakedown of people? That no one ever wants to talk about that. And it's like, if you don't have money in this country, like I said, you'll literally go to jail and they won't call it as a prison. We get caught up in the semantics crap. So what else are you going to call it? So you have a father that can't pay certain things. He's in and out of jail. He doesn't see his kids anyway. And their kids think their father's a deadbeat when he probably loves them more than anything in the world. And because there's a mother involved that doesn't want him in the life, she can go to the courts and they can be her guardian. And they literally litigate the case for her. I mean, that's America. So then it's kind of funny in this country, you can be too poor. A man can be poor to take care of his kids. He goes to jail. But when a female gets too poor, she gets bailed out by the government. But everyone wants to talk about this equality. How's that equality?
It's a good that's a really
that's not equality.
Thank you.
For sure.
But these same people want to stand up there and act like it is equal. But then when people like me stand up and say it's not equal, oh, you're the problem, Trek. No, I'm not the problem. I just see your BS, not you guys. I'm just saying, and that's what keeps me going. And so I like having these discussions because I don't know anything, man. So when you guys you guys say certain things, I can go back and research. Truth. We were talking to one time. He called me one time during chat. He told me something about the Marshall's Plan. I thought he was talking about the King Alfred Plan. When I looked into what it actually was, that's another topic. I'm not going to ruin the punchline now, but thank you for giving me that jewel, Truth, because I didn't know about that.
Which project?
I don't know. The Marshall Plan, like they did in World War II.
Oh, the Marshall Plan.
Yeah, that's dope. That was thank you for saying that.
After World War II for all of Europe.
Thank you.
We had it. We call things. This gets back to what we were saying in the original episode.
Right.
You brand assistance. You brand all these different processes. You brand trade partnerships.
Right.
We talked about it before. Like, we pay Israel billions of dollars just to be Israel.
But isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic though, Truth? They bailed out Israel. They bailed out Europe that they were actually in war with, and I'm glad they did it. But these are the same people that can't bail out Tulsa, Oklahoma. These are the same people that can't pay to help Rosewood and all those black towns that were destroyed by jealous people who actually used military planes for the first time ever in American history to bomb Americans. But because those Americans didn't fit the narrative or the look, if you will, or the complexion for protection, a lot of people like to say, that's why no one cares about it. And that's why it's not paid back. But then those same people have to care about Asian people being paid for being put in internment camps. These people can miss me. Like, honestly, if it's about truth, if it's about fairness, let it be that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
evidence that there needs to be reparations is that there already were for the Japanese.
Thank
so
you.
That was why it was so dope that like the Supreme Court decided half of Oklahoma is a Native American reservation.
Yeah, I'm glad that happened
like,
too. Yeah.
That was big news. I can't wait to see what happens with that.
But like
because
I said,
like,
man,
holy shit, that's
another
right.
great topic.
That is
in
what
respect,
the treaty
yeah.
fucking says. You
In
know,
respect,
honor
in respect,
the treaties.
in
So
yeah.
So
in
yeah,
respect to
Black people
reparations,
need to get
bro.
reparations. Native
Yeah.
Americans need to get more reparations. All of this stuff could be done. We're a very, very, very successful country. Jeff Bezos is an American. Let's take the fucking $1 trillion back, borrow it from him for a fucking second, give it to everybody. We'll owe him $1 trillion. No big deal. They give $1 trillion to the war every fucking year.
The laughable thing about the whole reparations thing, I don't know if you guys know about this, but in Asheville, North Carolina, I think it was last week, some city council, when I did the research, voted 7-1 to say, okay, reparations is a thing now, and Black descendants of slaves need to be paid. And I said, I heard it on its outset from the headline, but I'm saying this is a local. That's like Allentown City Council passing a resolution. Okay, we're going to pay reparations. Who the hell cares what a city council thinks? If it's not the federal government, or at least the state government, or England, or France, or any of these other Arab countries that have been still enslaving people, I don't want to hear that. It's another symbolic victory to make people feel better. We don't need to feel better. We need to be better.
I think it starts one town at a time. You know, I think Denver's doing cool shit. I think Asheville's doing cool shit. I think you have to just try. Even Nevada City tried to do fuck masks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, that's not my opinion. But at the same time, like, it's all about where you live and the principality of it, trying to become a city state. In my opinion, I agree. We all need to be fighting for more rights locally, more states' rights,
more freedom, less government oversight. Right?
I didn't hear you. Oversight? Sorry.
I said more freedom and less government oversight.
Yeah.
I think more oversight and less, less like bloated institutions that are corrupt and beating Navy SEALs on the streets of Portland, or what, excuse me, not Navy SEALs,
moms.
Navy veterans. I always say about getting your language right. I want to get mine right. Hitting a Navy veteran with pepper spray in the face and batons for simply walking down the street is not Antifa. It's not federal war on Antifa terrorists.
I mean, it's not missed on me.
What are they doing in Portland right now that's making a difference other than, making him? I mean, they seem like they're making a big mess. I don't think that what are they fighting for right now?
It's not like that. No way. They're making graffiti. Sorry.
Signs.
Sorry, we're doing graffiti. Like the fucking people are getting choked to death in the streets, like it's not that guy wasn't doing any goddamn graffiti.
Do we have anybody out there?
Security without beating and kidnapping protesters.
I don't have anybody out there. I don't have anybody out in Portland right now that maybe we should for next.
No, I don't.
Next show, I'm gonna hunt down because I do have somebody out there that we should really get somebody to talk about it with us, because I felt that there was a lot more go between with Minnesota, what was going on with the riots and these different things. I'm getting like a tiny little image. Like I have no idea really what's going on out there.
Portland is not burning. They called in Customs and Border Patrol to put down symbolic and freedom of speech rallies that were for the most part peaceful until the cops shot them up.
Right.
Like that's what happened.
What's the problem? I don't understand why the mayor's getting tear gassed and
because the mayor's
not standing with the people
marching down the street.
Yeah, the mayor's actually so concerned and not just
for
change. They're allowed to walk down the street. I mean, Natasha, I don't need to tell you why they're walking down the street.
The whole thing, Natasha.
I don't understand.
Want justice.
I'm hearing them.
Let me help. Let me try to help. Like the people in Allentown. Like look at the people in Allentown. And I know you feel.
Why do you keep on going out of focus, Trek?
I don't know, hon. Probably because I'm too close to it. I don't know, hon. But here's the thing: the people in Allentown, I know you support the police, and I respect the fact you support the police, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you literally have someone put a knee on someone's neck, and that person gets exonerated not even in a week, and they're saying we're not going to charge this person, what the heck is that? And how do they think that's going to help the morale of a people that are literally out there marching in the streets saying Black Lives Matter? And I don't say I agree with all the theatrics. I'll say that till I probably blue in the face, if that's even possible. But at what point do they say that people are hurting and doing things like letting cops off and saying we're not going to do anything? But then if it had been the other way
We're
around,
not gonna do shit.
if we're gonna,
Fuck you.
if somebody did that to a cop, Natasha, say it was some gangbangers, since you want to talk about Bloods and Crips, and a gangbanger put his knee on the neck of a cop, and then nothing, and then people came out, oh, we're not gonna do anything to this guy. How would the cops feel?
Right.
Does anyone ever ask these questions? Like,
No,
it's okay to stand with police. It's okay to stand with this Blue Lives Matter thing, whatever that means. But blue lives should
It's a
matter
gang.
for
It's a
all
state
cops,
gang.
not the certain cops. And it seems like the Somali cop, when he did his job, shooting Justine Diamond, she was running out of a shadowy figure of an alley. If that cop can't be afraid for his life. So that Somali cop shot after a figure coming at, so he wanted to go home that night. He went to jail for that. So how do blue lives matter? And what does blue lives mean to his family?
Mm-hmm.
Or people of his ilk? The two cops that were chasing some other guy, they had a 6-year-old son, I don't remember the names. You guys can research it. He was literally following a guy with a car and shot his 6-year-old son that was shooting back at the cops. Do you know those cops got 40 years each? So how's Amy Geiger get 10 years for doing what she did, going into someone's apartment, shooting someone and saying it was her apartment, and when you look at the two apartments, this look nothing close. And then she finally gets charged, and then the black judge that should have been hard on her gives her a hug and gives her a Bible? How is this justice? And then they expect black people, that's why people are out in the streets. They're tired of seeing crap like that. When did OJ ever get a hug? When did
OJ didn't get a
Muhammad
hug.
ever get a
OJ
hug?
definitely didn't get a hug.
When did R. Kelly, I hate to say R. Kelly, when did he ever get a hug?
Oh man.
No hugs for R. Kelly. He got canceled.
No, that was a terrible
We definitely
example,
need to cancel way more cops.
Amy Geiger shooting an unarmed black man in his apartment is beyond reproach too. So
the shit was nuts, dude. She had no excuse.
Just like R. Kelly's out.
How many years did they give her? Like 2? What did they give her?
They gave her 10 years, but she'll probably get like 5.
Yeah, she'll do 6.5.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Good behavior.
Go ahead, honey. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a solution. You know how like there's a log of people that have been pedophiles, and if they move into a neighborhood, if they're out of jail or whatever, that's on their permanent record, and it's like they have to go around and tell people. If there's a cop that has a record like that, that has to be transparent. It has to be known if they've been involved with a lot of violent altercations, right?
I think even things like Megan's List. Am I focused now, hon?
No, it's on.
Okay, good. Okay. When I think of things like Megan's List, I always thought that was a lifetime sentence, if you will. Like you're on that list forever. But some guy just got charged locally, I think in Allentown, with having child porn, and he's going to be on it for only 15 years for the child sex registry. So is that, maybe they need to change things like that, because I thought it was for life, and it should be for life. How do you have an expiration date on that?
Bro, child pornography, you should be in jail for the rest of your life. Let's be honest. Let's really be honest about this shit.
Or at least be tracked for the rest of your life. At least be on the list for the rest of your life, right? That's like being a murderer and they have a statute of limitations on murder. Okay, you're not a murderer anymore because you murdered someone 10 years ago. Yeah, but I'm not talking
about, oh, some girl was 16 and you saw it on the internet and you didn't mean to. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you have video saved of blatant children, young children.
That's snuff crap. That's snuff crap. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you have snuff of a certain caliber, I'm not talking about, you saw somebody get shot in the head and it's on the dark web. Right. Whatever. You could say some of that stuff has to be freedom of speech if people are adults. But if you have children and numerous videos of children being raped, you should be in jail for the rest of your life. Right. There's no reason why we should ever expose our children to someone who has that mental condition ever again. Because more and more, the left is admitting that it is a mental health issue that they are born with. So
that was actually a study. Yeah, that was actually a study back in the day. In the 80s, I think that came out. Yeah.
There isn't, we should stop talking about time served and paid their debt to society
and all this shit. No, you rape children or you have child porn, a nice jail forever. A beautiful, healthy, you can read fucking all day books, no internet. Hardcore, no internet.
So then I like
away
that.
from
I mean,
children.
Like the statement could just be simply that
Good point.
the demand is that we raise sentencing for pedos. Period.
Just 100%. It needs to happen. I've been to jail. They told me how long pedos are in jail. It's a handful. It's a few years for some of the worst crimes you can fucking do. And
Do
they
we need
get
to bring back the
5
Catch a
years.
Predator show? Because that fell under like a lot of scrutiny for the way they went about what they did. But they had a good idea, I think. But
What
the
they
execution-
realized when they did that show was that they could do it every day and they'd catch a new pedo every day.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. So
So that'll be for the next show. We have a lot of people that are going to be coming out of the closet when this Maxwell list is finally released. We're going to be able to revisit that.
She's still alive. She's still alive now.
Apparently, a couple
Still alive 2-3 weeks later, dude. I'm
They
surprised.
made sure, Rich. They got snipers covering her.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So they have everything. They don't want to. They don't want her just to disappear. So but there's a lot of people that are going to be getting canceled next week. So there'll be more room for
Canceled. Yep.
More room for us to take lead.
Yes.
Red Bokeh.
Can we talk about some of these celebrities that have ankle braces? Truth, they're saying a lot of these people are under house arrest, like Oprah's and Will Smith, or is all that?
I will say I found a legitimate article that Oprah's not leaving her house in 2020. That's her words saying she's not leaving her house. I don't know if it's true, but she's basically saying, or maybe not leaving her house, but her official schedule is completely over for 2020 on Oprah, on mainstream news.
On mainstream news. Okay, they're saying a lot of these guys are getting arrested from that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, so,
she could be in trouble.
I think a lot of them are.
So this was our third show. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to be doing this show for all you guys. As we go along, we're going to be taking these shows and putting them over onto Spotify. Make sure that you chime in with all of us. Make sure you connect with Truth Now on his Facebook page, the Red Bokeh Society. Please add us on YouTube as well as Instagram and all the other platforms. I'm Natasha Lightning. Follow me on Instagram. Looking forward to next week when we get a chance to see who was on that list. Until then, be easy.
Take care.
Peace.
Like and subscribe.